by itself, I'm going to multiply by that giant number. So it's actually 158,400 times the sine of 5.074 on the left, and that equals h. And then I'm going to put that in my calculator. Remember that you have to use degrees, not radians, and again, that is under mode. So this is 158,400 times the sine, times the sine of 5.074, which gives you, for that h, 14,009.3-ish. Okay, and that's one of the answers, but that is not the answer they're looking for, because they want to know what is the total height of Mount Everest. So since we already know that the height is whatever, 15,000, then if I add to that 14,009, then I'll get 29,009, which is J. Confusing. Hopefully the ACT questions are a little bit better worded than these. Solve the right triangle if A is 10.6, C is 18.8. Okay. And, well, we'll figure out what B is. So I'm going to start with the Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 10.6 squared. We don't know what B is. C is 18.8 squared. Okay. So let me do those quick. So 10.6 squared is 112.36, and 18.8 squared is 353.44, and I'm going to subtract that 112.36 from both sides and then do a square root to get the b by itself. So that's 353.44 minus 112.36, which makes b squared is 241.08, square root on both sides. I got 15.5. All right, now, if you look through the answers, remember, sometimes it's better just to eliminate. There's only 2 answer sets that actually have 15.5 as B, and I'm pretty certain I did that right. And now I also know that all the angles of a triangle add up to 180, and since I already have 90 degrees here, these two have to add up to 90. So 34.4 plus 55.6, those add up to 90. And these ones, 34.4 and 57.2, if you add those together, they don't add up to 90, so the answer has to be B. Now, if you didn't have that obvious of an answer of which one was right, what you could do is you could set up like, oh, here's my angle, and maybe I could say something like the tangent of A is 10.6 over 18 point, no, that's not tangent, this is opposite, and so it'd be sine. Sine of A would be 10.6 divided by 18.8, and then do an inverse sine on your calculator to figure out what that angle is, and then just subtract it from 180 and from take away 90 as well to get the other angle. But I think this is easier because it's just obvious which one's right. Next up, number 12. Solve the right triangle ABC if B is 4.8, angle A is 48 degrees. Which of the following are measures of B, A, and C? Okay. So this is a good chance for us to do what we couldn't do on the last one, because on this one we don't have another side. So I'm just going to pick what I want to go for first, which is this opposite side over here. This is my adjacent side, and I'm using this angle right here. Oh, also it's pretty easy for me to figure out what the other angle is, because I know that they all add up to 180, so this is 42 over here. Because that's 180 minus 90 minus 48 is 42. So already I can tell you that F and H are not an answer. Sometimes when you're on the ACT, you might not have time to actually finish a problem, but just being able to cross off 2 of the wrong answers really fast helps a lot. Then you only have 3 to guess from, but not for 5, and your odds go up, because that is statistics. Okay, so I've got opposite and adjacent, that's tangent. So I'm going to write down that the tangent of 48 equals the opposite of that, which is A over 4.8. And then to figure out A, I'm going to multiply both sides by 4.8. Remember that your calculator has to be in it has to be in degrees. So 4.8 times the tangent of 48 is 5.3 about. So A is 5.3. Okay, well, already I guess we could just figure out what it is, because the only one that is right, or is A, is that one right there. I don't even have to do the Pythagorean Theorem to find the last side, which is what I would have done, because the only ones with the choices of A being 5.3 and angle B being 42 is J. But if I did have to figure it out, I would use the Pythagorean Theorem to find that last side. All right. In triangle ACB shown below, sine is 1/2, BC is 20. Which of the following are these measures? Fun. Okay, so we know that the sine is 1/2. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what this angle is. So if I know that the sine of A is 1/2, I'm going to do an inverse sine on my calculator to figure out what that angle is. My phone is so dark. Oh, because I'm running out of battery. Okay, so I'm going to do an inverse sine. It's very bright still. Okay, so the inverse sine, let's see, second inverse sine of, what was it? 1/2? Which you might have memorized because it is one of the unit circle things, but if you haven't taken, advanced math, then you don't know. So that's 30 degrees. So this is 30 degrees right here, and that's 60 degrees. Now, there are some special triangles that you should have remembered from geometry that have kind of special rules. Those are 45-45 triangles and 30-60 triangles. Right triangles, of course. So if you're going to write down those rules, just so you know, that means that these two sides are the same. Those are both x. And if you do the Pythagorean Theorem, this side would be x times the square root of 2. So, for example, in a 45-45-90 triangle, if this was 17, that would be 17, and this side would be 17 times the square root of 2. The relationships in this one is x, this is double x on the hypotenuse, and this side is x times the square root of 3. So now I know that this side is 20, so this side has to be 40. And this side has to be 20 times the square root of 3. So I don't even have to do the math because I already know the relationship. And these are one of the couple things that you really should memorize going into the ACT. Okay, so let's see. AB is 40. That takes out that one, that one, that one. Angle B is 60. That takes out A. And the last one is 34.6. I assume that's right. If I type in my calculator 20 times the square root of 3. Yep, 34.6. Okay. Last two are definitely advanced math problems. I'm so sorry for those of you who are trying to do this after just Algebra 2. All right, so a sine graph looks like this. It's kind of hard to draw. It's like, let's see, every sine graph repeats every 2 pi. That's its period. It goes from 1 to -1. And a sine graph starts at 0, and it goes up like this, and then down like that, down to 1, and it keeps going. Like it just keeps cycling over and over and over again. Now, if there's a 3 in front of it, that means whatever the sine graph was, it'll go up to 3. One way you could do this without actually knowing this math is you could just plug it into your calculator, your graphing calculator, to find out what it looks like. So if you went to y equals, you could put in the sine of x like this, and then also 3 times the sine of x. Of course, the problem is knowing where you want your window to be. I want my window to be going up to